Hello everybody, Demons of Rosgreaves here. Just thinking about making more videos, helping out some of the newer players, maybe players who don't know how to play a certain class. Today I'm going to be talking about American Destroyers, USNDDs, with armor penetrating rounds, AP rounds. I know it sounds crazy, but follow me on this. You'll see what I'm talking about once we get into the video. I'd like to start off by talking about the training room mod. Now this is a very good mod for a lot of new players, and I wish more people would install this mod. I know people are against mods sometimes, but trust me, this one's actually very useful. It's similar to the training rooms in World of Tanks, except that it's free, unlike World of Tanks, where in World of Tanks you have to pay for shells. So if you're trying to practice with premium ammunition, that game came out very expensive because you get no credits in return. Once you've installed the mod, it's very easy if you go through Aislin's mod. It's a very good mod pack. You go to random battles, go ahead and hit training room and hit battle. When you do that, you'll get this leaderboard. It'll just show a list of servers that are available or rounds that are available that people have created. Since it's so early in the morning in my side of the states, I'm going to go ahead and create one. Here, lets you choose everything you want. So let's make it a 60-minute battle because I will be just messing around. Let's go ahead and make it a 5x5. That means it's 5 enemies versus 5 enemies. I don't like ocean, so let's go to a small map, islands. Standard battle, create. When you create this battle, it pops up in the leaderboard page that we saw at the beginning. This way people can join, great for teaming up with some allies or maybe just doing some skirmishes. In this case, we'll just be doing some training with AP shells. So let's say you want to go up against a bunch of bots. That's what this little bar down here is for. Now if you want to fill up the teams randomly, you just click the little double arrow, boom, random bots assigned to the game. Now these bots will be active, so they will shoot at you, they will shoot at the enemies. But let's say I don't want all that. Let's go ahead and get rid of everybody. Of course I want to be in team 1. And let's say I want to go up against, let's make it fair, I want to fight an enemy Furitaka. Now I don't want them to be active because I will be shooting at them and just to show some AP round footage. So I'm going to keep them unactive, unarmed. Active means that the ships will actively try to cap points, will move around, and will be operational. Armed is whether or not they'll actually fire at you. If you click active but not armed, they will try to cap you out since they cannot attack you. Now when you load bots into the game, they are always stock. It is a bit of a drawback, but it's better than nothing. Currently we have no proper training rooms that Wargaming has. We're gonna go ahead and hit battle. Teams are not complete. Yes, I'm sure. It'll warn you in case you ever accidentally stack teams against yourself or whatever. So the games load in very quickly, at least on my computer. We're just gonna let it load through. Well, wait, I will take this time to talk about the American Destroyers. Now some of you might be asking, why did I choose the Mayhem and not my Farragut or my Nicholas? And the answer is quite simple actually. From the Nicholas to the gearing, the American Destroyers actually keep the 127mm guns. Now not even at the Benson, at the fletching, they do get a little better. They get a higher rate of fire, they get better turret traverse rate, but only until you get to the gearing do you get the twin cannons on the turret, plus a really good rate of fire. They fire 20 rounds a minute, similar to the Atlanta. So Raylius, who's one of my buddies here, has dubbed it the mini Atlanta, which I actually thought was a pretty good example, a good description of it. So we're gonna go ahead and sail up to the front lines. The reason I like using this map for these kind of things is super small, easy to get to the front lines, even with this little slow ship. Go ahead and just use a speed boost. Now the first ship I run into is an Atlantis. Let me rephrase that, is a New Orleans. So I'm gonna load AP and I'm just messing around right now. Oh no, I'm detected. Oh, I'm surprised to pen at this distance. Oh, never mind. Just skipping ahead a bit. It does take a minute to get around in this game. So now you're asking me, Demons of Rosgriz, what do you think in firing AP rounds at ships? Well, Rayleigh's actually showed this to me, and hopefully he'll send me some of his videos so I can throw them up for everybody to see. But he is actually the one who showed me the art of citadeling cruisers, specifically cruisers like the Cleveland, with AP ammunition and destroyers. I know, sounds outrageous, but that's why I'm making this video. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll up. Now, in case you don't know what citadels are or where they're located, citadels are like the main machinery components of a ship. That usually includes like a boiler room, an engine room, ammunition, or magazines, things like that. Things that would be very important for a ship to not sink, or at least not explode. So penetrating those with rounds is very, very bad. So usually they're located underneath turrets. Magazines are usually located underneath turrets. You can cause detonations by piercing a magazine. And the engine room or the boiler rooms are usually underneath smokestacks. Let's see if I can penetrate this. Go ahead, bring it to full stop. Now when you're firing AP, oh beautiful, already got my first citadel. So when you're firing AP, you usually want to try to keep it close to the waterline. Look at that, 7,000. You want to keep it close to the waterline, as you get a higher chance of penetrating the citadel, as they're usually located very close to the waterline. Now, when you're firing AP at ships, specifically cruisers, now you got to recall your guns are very tiny. You won't be penetrating citadels at 10,000 kilometers. We're talking 2-3 kilometers at best. These are ambush tactics, which if you're an American destroyer player, you're already used to having to do ambush tactics. So you want to make sure that if you're firing AP, you're close and the enemy is not paying attention to you. You saw how quickly I took it out. I took it out in 6 salvos, and with a quick reload, boom, in and out. That's a good tactic to use if you're waiting for your torpedoes to reload. As you get higher in the tiers, torpedoes get ridiculous on the reload times, and it's a good option to rack up damage while you wait for reload. Now we're going to pull up to this gearing and show you what kind of damage I could do with AP rounds. Now, I'm not going to lie, it's not very good actually. Overpins are a high possibility when it comes to firing at DDs. I'm surprisingly doing good damage though. Part of the reason might be that the gearing is actually kind of a fatty. He's a thick ship, or she's a thick ship, so AP rounds are actually more effective. At least for these tiny guns, where I'm firing 127 millimeter guns. See, there you go, overpen for pretty much nothing. Another overpen. Usually when you're firing at destroyers, you don't want to be firing AP unless you got a really thick ship like this one. As you can see, I can actually bounce. Boom. The reason I did good damage there is because it went through the length of the ship. Increase the chances of hitting vital components, things like that. Just go ahead and finish it off. Oops, I forgot, I cannot touch enemy ships. But as you can see, 13 citadel hits. I will be loading back in to do another round. But 13 citadel hits for a ship that is not supposed to be able to use AP is not bad. Alright, so we're loading back in after my little blunder. That's why situational awareness is very important. It keeps you from embarrassing yourself like that. So as I was saying earlier, AP ammunition has its place even for destroyers. Now, I loaded some higher tier ships because some of you might be thinking, oh, just firing at low tier ships, tiers 8s are nothing. Well, let's do some tier 10s then. AP ammunition even has its usage against tier 10 battleships. Now, when I get to them, you'll see. Okay, so when I recorded earlier, you guys saw that I was about 1.5 to 2 kilometers away from the enemy's out. Here I'm going to be 3 kilometers, and I will be aiming underneath the smokestack. You see it right there? Citadels are usually located around here, so we're going to go ahead and fire away. Just go ahead, to a full stop just so I can line up broadside shots better. And waterline fire. As you can see, I'm just bouncing off. Whoop, low, too low. Just bouncing off his citadel armor. I will not be penetrating anytime soon. So you're thinking, whoa, wouldn't it be suicide to try to take one on? If you're the better you are of a player, the more room you have to recover from mistakes. Let's say we clear an island and I just suddenly come face to face to the Zout, and my torpedoes are on reload. If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna make sure it makes him hurt. So we're gonna start firing at 2 kilometers, and boom, see? All of a sudden I start getting way better penetration rolls. Shot to the citadel right there, and at 2 kilometers. So just a 1 kilometer difference instantly makes my life way easier. 3 citadel hits right there. Go ahead and zoom out. Rolling too high. Boom, another citadel hit. Now, as you can see right there, just destroying him. And of course, these are things you want to do at close quarters, not trying to do it all far away. At this angle, you're no longer allowed to penetrate. I'm just going to keep bouncing off. We're going to go ahead and just finish him off. Good night. Let's go ahead and move on to Yamato, my big friend, the fat Yamato. So I'm going to start off by loading HE, as that's the ship, that's the ammunition type that most people will be firing at a Yamato if they ever come in and, you know, face to it in a higher tier American destroyer. Just gonna go ahead and waddle over here. So if I were to fire HE, let's see what kind of rolls we get. This is superstructure shots, getting about 500 a roll. Not bad, not bad. Considering he's got a large superstructure, this is actually quite easy. Now, some of you might have noticed that the area around his superstructures keeps getting darker with every shell that lands. What's actually going on here is that the game's showing you that he's going to keep taking less and less damage in that area the more you shoot at it. Some of you might have seen this in ships like with the Atlanta, where it's got the fire streams of death that it fires, but when you start smashing into areas that are already darkened, you keep rolling low and lower. See, right there I only did 800 even though it was a clean shot. See there, only 1100 even though earlier I was doing up to 500 a shell. Looks like we're about leveled out there. Yeah, it's gonna keep rolling about 400 a shell, which is kind of low if you think about it. But let's see what happens when we fire AP. The reason I like AP is that it's not affected by the darkening, and since the Yamato has decent armor ratings. See, look at that, 2700. Now, if this is a good alternative once superstructure is heavily damaged. Go ahead and let all the guns load. So what I'm doing is firing just above the armor belt. You can usually see the armor belt. See that thin line right there? It's usually the armor belt. If I'm incorrect, please correct me, but as far as I know, that is how it currently works. Now, so I'm firing above the armor belt, but below the superstructure, because if I fire to the superstructure, I will get overpets. The shots just came out the back end. See? You see the splashes in the back? They're actually piercing through the superstructure and going through it. And it's just no fun. But firing at the slightly beefier parts of the ship, boom, doing better damage, and I'm not affected by the HE diminishing returns. So I'm able to keep doing beautiful damage. You know, good tip for if you're fighting a battleship who's distracted and you have no torpedoes. We're gonna go ahead and move on because that's pretty much all I can roll on him. Let's see. Ooh, he's got a lot of health. I've never noticed that before. We're gonna move on to the Nagato. It'll be the same for the Nagato. Pretty much any battleship you face with the American destroyers using the 127s will. He survived though. Wow. Woo. That took 7 torpedoes to sink at half health. So it'll be the same for the Nagato. Aim for slightly armored weak points where you can do some decent rolls. The reason I'm not using AP against the Nagato specifically is that he has a very tiny superstructure. So at range, you know, hitting is near impossible. So people start aiming at the armor belt, and then you get 0 rolls. See, let's shoot some armor belt here. Look at that, nothing. It's just bouncing off. Well, not bouncing, just exploding against it. And nothing's going on. That's why I like the idea of using AP against the superstructure. Actually, is actually a good roll. See? Oh, it actually overpinned. Oh, that's the first time it's happened to me. Anyways, again, fire above the armor belt, but below the superstructure. You get some really neat rolls there. And worst case scenario, if you actually shoot his guns, you can knock them out. You may not pen, but you will be taking them out of commission. Ooh, that was some cool looking bounces, kind of like a light show. Don't recall having this much difficulty taking out guns, but we're gonna move on. If this is your last resort, you pretty much have messed up and you're gonna die anyway. So, you know, there's not much you'll be doing here. We're gonna go ahead and take you out. Bye, my friend. Gotta love these torpedoes. Now we're moving on to the Demois. Now again, when you're firing AP at these, trying to hit the citadels, you want to be closer than 3 kilometers. That's the rule of thumb anyways that I've been using. Trying to aim for the water line. Let's go ahead and start firing. Got a bad salvo off there. I'm having bad luck here. There we are. Beautiful. As you can see, I am just demolishing this ship. We're gonna go ahead and move on. Just showing you 23 citadels. Not bad. And then just a typical BB firing. Fire at the superstructure at range. You'll get some nice rolls. And then when you get closer, you can actually fire at that lower armor belt to get some nice pens in there. Hit the armor belt. I'm just at a bad angle, and these are very armored ships. For now, I'm just going to keep wailing on his superstructure. Of course, these are alternatives to HE. Now, some people might disagree with my video, and they're allowed their opinion, even if they're wrong. As you can see, I'm doing nice little 3,000 rolls. It's better than HE, which usually never rolls that high. Here, let's go ahead and try that out. Superstructure. See, 1,700, 1,000 less. Go ahead and shoot this little bit right there. 400. So it's a good alternative for those who are looking to maximize their potential in American destroyers. Of course, your #1 weapon is your torpedoes, and they will pretty much obliterate anything you fire them at. So we're just gonna go ahead and finish off this video with a nice little fireworks show. Good night. Holy poop, it lived. That's a first. Just gonna finish him off here. Yay, over pens. And bounces! Well, y'all have a good night.
Enemy battleship sunk.